out here and we are on the land. Okay, my people, you see that we are on the land. So you see the sun, you see there's a planet out there right by the sun. There it is. There's the sun. You see the ring around it. Saturn in effect, y'all. So you see the topic today, my people. The topic is, let me pull out this topic for y'all. Okay. You see it's a ship out there. So the topic is kilohertz versus megahertz. We're gonna get into it on all points, but you see the you can see the ships out there, see the X up in there. We're gonna get into this right now. So we about to not be in the sun no more, y'all. We're about to go into this lesson. So we going into this lesson, y'all. How many people with me out there in the chat? Peace to all my the people in the house. We are about to go in on some serious today. For real. Where all my real people at out there? All my real people that want to be free and want to make a change. Where y'all at? So, let's get into this lesson real quick. But let me just start off with this before we get into that lesson. Birth agent. Remember what Patrick was talking about? Birth, B-E-R-T-H. Well, there is a birth agent, also called a port or ship agent. Is a person or company that handles all the logistics for a vessel when it arrives at a port and needs a place to dock. A berth, B-E-R-T-H, my people. So they are the middlemen between the ship and the port, the berth agent. And there is an agent that you have to be for your account in the IRS. So, the berth agent arranges docking, berthing, B-E-R-T-H-I-N-G, secures a spot at the port for the vessel, coordinates arrival time with the port authorities, handles paperwork, customs clearance, immigration for crew, port documentation and fees, coordinates services, fuel, loading, unloading cargo, tugboats and pilots, repairs or maintenance of, if needed. Now, acts on behalf of the ship owner, communicates with port officials, manages payments and invoices, solves problems during the port stay. So my people, birth, B-E-R-T-H, and then there's birth. So there is a difference between those two words. So berth with an E, meaning a place for a vessel, ship, boat to dock, or a sleeping space, used in maritime shipping context, also used for beds on ships, trains, etc. So, the ship secured a berth at the port of New York and New Jersey. He slept in an upper berth on the train, B-E-R-T-H. Birth with an I, the act of being born, origin of life, used in medical, legal, and personal identity contexts, connected to records like birth certificates. Her birth was recorded in New York City. Your birth certificate proves identity and citizenship. So remember, BERTH equals place for a ship. BIRTH, beginning of a human life. So, my people, peace to all my we the people in the house. How you doing? Sashka, how you doing out there? Oh hey, my dear, shoot better good. Yeah, nothing's wrong, my people. Nothing's wrong. So that I just had to give you a little drop on that. So now we're going into the kilohertz versus megahertz. Okay. So now, my people, this is deep because this is the frequency of what we're going through right now. So are y'all ready? Y'all got your notebooks? Let's go. So basically, megahertz and kilohertz. Now we're dealing with frequency, right? Somebody dropped, but they didn't know what they were saying. So somebody said that linen has a vibration of 5,000 hertz. Okay. So if linen has a vibration, my people, of 5,000 hertz, then there is a frequency tone that you must pull down of 5,000 hertz. Okay. It's a wave. It's 5,000 hertz. It's a tone. It's a frequency. Now, the bottom line is that this frequency that is 5,000 is a very high tone and can be piercing to the ears. Okay, you're going to get a sample of it today. I'm going to let you hear what it sounds like, especially with headphones. So you would have to keep it low. Now, the frequency, 5,000, 6,000, 7,000, 8,000, 9,000 hertz, my people. So we got the frequency of 5,000, but let's take it to completion of a frequency. So it would be 9,000 hertz, okay? And I'm going to let you hear what 9,000 hertz sounds like. Now, basically, let's see if we can let you hear what the 5,000 sounds like. This is a frequency of 5,000 hertz. This is what 5,000 hertz sounds like. That's what 9,000 hertz sounds like. 9,000 hertz. Okay. We'll do it again. 9,000 hertz. This is 9,000 hertz that I'm playing right now. Okay, and we're going to go into okay, my people. That was the one that was a high pitch but lower. That was 9,000 hertz. Now, basically what 5,000 hertz tone is, it's a high frequency sound in the upper range of human hearing. When people talk about healing frequencies, it's important to separate scientific evidence from belief-based or alternative practices. Now, they say that there is no medically proven healing property specific to 5,000 hertz, but that's a goddamn lie. because when you listen to 5,000 hertz, and 5,000 hertz is supposedly the frequency of linen, okay, they say it's not recognized in clinical medicine or fields like neuroscience or acoustics as a healing frequency, but it does heal. Because since I have been listening to 5,000 hertz, I listen to it. This is what it does. This is what they say it does, but your body will tell you different. Sound in general can affect the body in different ways, can influence mood and focus, can stimulate the nervous system, can create relaxation or stress depending on the tone. What 5,000 hertz actually does, it sits in the range the air is very sensitive to, okay? Often perceived as sharp, bright, or piercing, can increase alertness or even irritation if loud. 5,000 hertz increases your concentration to focus more on a higher level. The higher frequencies, other than what they have given you, like 528 and so forth, those are all frequencies that dumb you down, because you have to be in a higher frequency to overstand and to rise above what they are doing right now, straight up. So basically, instead, they're saying that the higher frequencies are not healing, but they are healing if they're putting you into a state of alertness. Because the more alert you are, the quicker you can spot a charlatan or somebody trying to scam you out of whatever it is. So it gives the 5,000 hertz, 9,000 hertz, gives you a heightened awareness, mental stimulation to make you think on a higher level, sometimes discomfort at higher volumes. So you would have to use the frequency that is comfortable to your ear. Okay? We're going to play the frequency again for you. But some people believe high frequencies like 5,000 hertz may clear energy or sharpen perception, stimulate the brain, or higher consciousness, but these claims are not scientifically verified. Yes, they are scientifically verified once you start working with the frequency for yourself. You yourself are scientifically verifying what the frequency is doing for you. Okay? So, if your goal is healing, frequencies more commonly used, they say, for sound therapy include 432, 528, or even lower frequencies, but they slow you down. We are in a frequency now on the earth where this is vibrating higher than 22 hertz. Now, when you go into 9,000 hertz, my people, okay, that's an even higher frequency sound than 5,000 hertz, sitting near the upper limit of what many adults can hear. When it comes to healing properties, you know, they say that even with 9,000 hertz, that it's not proven, but you prove it to yourself by using the frequency and working with the frequency every day. Okay? Now, so the 9,000 hertz actually does what it actually does to your body. It's a very sharp and high-pitched tone, often harder to hear with age. Hearing sensitivity drops, can feel stimulating, irritating if loud. fatiguing over time. So you can't listen to the high pitch frequencies, a certain amount of times. It depends on you. Now, psychological effects may include increased alertness. Yes, your alertness becomes very increased, very high. Mild stress response if volume is high. That, yes, you do get a mild stress if it's too high. Air fatigue with prolonged exposure. Yes, you would get tired of hearing it, so you turn it off. So now, in some sound healing or spiritual communities, high frequencies like 9,000 hertz are believed to clear mental fog. Yes, it will clear your mental fog, my people. Stimulate higher awareness or intuition. Yes, my people, it does that also. Break up stagnant energy. Yes, it breaks up a lot of stagnant energy. Now, let's hear the frequency again now that have given you this information. This is 900 hertz. Hold on. Shit. 900 hertz. Can y'all hear that? Can y'all hear that? 900 hertz. Let me see. I'm going to put it in a way that you can hear it if you couldn't hear that. Let's see if you can hear this. Trying to get it up for y'all. Trying to get it up. Hold on, my people. Don't go nowhere. Let me get you this sound. Let me get you this sound here. Hold up. Hold up. I'm almost there. Hold up. Taking a minute for this thing to fucking load. Okay, hold on. Can y'all hear it? Can y'all hear that sound? That's 900 hertz. I'm going to let you hear 5,000. Okay, my people. I just let you hear the sound of the hertz. Now, basically, if you want these hertz, this frequency, get at us 407-300-5377, and we can help you get to these sounds. You know what I'm saying? Because these are the sounds and the frequencies that you need right now. Now, there is another frequency, my people, that we're going to talk about right now. What we're saying about the megahertz versus the kilohertz. So basically, megahertz versus kilohertz. The definition of hertz is 1 hertz, 1 cycle per second. It measures the frequency of a repeating signal or wave. Kilohertz, 1 kilohertz equals 1,000 hertz. Example, a 500 kilohertz radio wave oscillates at 500,000 times per second. Megahertz. Megahertz equals 100,000 hertz or 1,000 kilohertz. Example, a 5 megahertz frequency oscillates at 500,000 times per second. So you're listening to, I let you listen to the frequencies, okay? I let you listen to those frequencies. Now the comparison, megahertz is 1,000 times higher in frequency than kilohertz. High frequency, more cycles per second, usually shorter wavelength. Lower frequency, kilohertz, penetrates materials better and travels farther but carries less data. Applications: kilohertz AM radio 540 through 1,600 kilohertz is a long wave communication sonar. Megahertz FM radio 88 to 108 megahertz TV channels, cell phones, Wi-Fi 2.4 gigahertz equals 2,400 megahertz. So, my people, I just gave you a whole bunch of information on frequencies. You know, the frequencies may have scared a lot of people away, but you know, that's what it is. A lot of people ain't ready for it. This is a channel that goes beyond what people really, you know, can even phantom in their little brain. So my people, you know, the clarification right here. Now, we can go high into higher frequencies, like 22,000 megahertz, which is 22 gigahertz, not 22 kilohertz. That's extremely high in the microwave radar range and inaudible to human ears. Now, I have a 22,000 megahertz frequency. I have the frequency, but when you play the frequency, you can't hear the frequency because let's get into it. Okay. So basically, the 22 megahertz, which is microwave radar spectrum, not a sound, it's actually sonar. You know what I'm saying? So if you create the sound yourself, you're not going to be able to hear it. But what you can use that sound for through your phone is to put your phone against any of the aches and pains that you have in your body, because that's what they use on pregnant women for a new life. The sonar can detect if there's new life, and it can heal. The sonar sound can heal because the human ear cannot hear sonar. Okay? So basically, you're going to have to work with the sound. You have to actually have the sound to start working with the frequencies, because it's all about frequency. The frequency is going to tune you in to a higher world within and without. So if you're tuning in, you have to tune in to a higher frequency. You cannot tune into the frequencies that are old frequencies. That's old material within your brain. Those are old tools. The new tools are the higher frequencies. They're going to put you into higher dimensions. They're going to start to repair your DNA, make your telomeres grow longer, things like that. So 2200 hertz is a very top of the human hearing range, meaning that humans can't hear it. Most people can barely hear it. Some younger listeners may perceive it as very high-pitched whistle. Here's what you should know, my people. that healing brainwave use frequencies this high are sometimes used in a sound therapy for subtle stimulation or to entrain brain waves, but effects are usually gentle because most humans barely hear it. Tone generation, you can safely generate it on a computer, phone, or audio software that supports high frequency sin waves. Okay? Now, you can create 2200 hertz. You can make that sonar therapy for yourself and start healing your body with sonar therapy. So, if you have sciatica pain, and you know that's a nerve related and it is sound therapy and frequency healing. Practitioners often use low to mid-range frequencies. They may do that, but in this new age of Aquarius, you have to tune into a higher frequency. So you're going to be tuning in to 1000 megahertz, 2000 megahertz, 3000 megahertz, 4000 megahertz, 5000 megahertz, 6000 megahertz, 7000 megahertz, 8000 megahertz, 9000 megahertz. As so for the kilohertz, it would be the same thing, but you're using thousands of it. You can use, you know, as high as you can get the frequency to be within your phone, because you have to download it and start working with the frequency. Now, the frequencies, 9000 hertz, is going to run demons away, straight up. If you're walking in places that you think are demon ridden, you're going to pull your phone out, turn on your 9000 frequency, and get rid of fucking demons. You get rid of rodents with high pitch frequencies. You use high pitch frequencies on rodents, roaches, all types of shit like that. High pitch frequencies run away demons, straight up. A demon, if you have parasites, you can sound these frequencies and they will run away parasites out your body. Now, let's go. So my people, some people ain't even ready for what I'm talking about, and I understand it fully. I really understand it fully. If you ain't ready for the frequency, then shit, you don't need to be here. But if you are ready for a higher frequency, my people, then you have tuned in to the United States Private Enterprise Free State Drop-in Science on higher frequencies. We work with all higher frequencies here, okay? So now that I have dropped the higher frequency on you, let me go into something else, okay? What we gonna go into? Well, I'm about to you can go into this if y'all tired of hearing about a high frequency. Then how many of y'all know about the vessel? How many of y'all know about the construction reserve fund? Okay. How many of you people know about, let's get into something. Let's go into Title 46, my people. Because that's where all the source is at. You know what I'm saying? You got ECFR 46, CFR Part 502, Rules of Practice and Procedure. You need to go study that, my people. For real, for real. You got ECFR 46, CFR Part 502, Rules and Practice. I just said that. You need, now, did y'all know that applications for submission to practice before the Commission for Persons Not Attorneys at Law must be accompanied by a fee of $229 pursuant to 502.27 of this chapter. So you don't have to be a lawyer to practice law. All you got to do is pay some money to the federal government and your ass can practice law. There you go. ECFR 46, CFR Part 90, my people. General provisions. You need to study that because it tells you how the birth certificate is a vessel. You got Title 33, Title 46, Title 33, Navigations in Navigable Waters. Also reference birth certificates. 33 CFR 141.25 lists a delayed certificate of birth issued under state seal as acceptable evidence of citizenship. Okay? So, if we go into, my people, this CFR right here, we're going to copy it, okay? And we're going to go into the CFR. All right, let's see what we come up with, y'all. Okay. 33 CFR 14135. Let's see. Okay, here we are. Let's see what this says, y'all. Let's see what this says. Are y'all following? What's up? Ramaski. So my people, this is we in what is it? Okay, this is reporting for unregulated. That's not what we're looking for. They said right here, general applicability section applies to any owner or operator of a public water system required to monitor for unregulated contaminants. Okay, this is something different. They got state refers to the state or tribal government entity that has jurisdiction over your water. That shit is fucked up. Okay, let's go backwards, my people. We looking for what we looking for, my people. I was looking for what that birth certificate thing said. 33. That's not it. That's not it, my people. We're looking for 33 CFR 141.25. See what we come up with. All right, we got 33 CFR 141, evidence of citizenship. That's what we looking for, people. Gather in, gather in, gather in, oh my people. Gather in. Check it. Here we go. Evidence of citizenship. For the purposes of this part, the employer may accept as significant evidence that a person is a citizen of the United States any one of the following documents and no others: a valid Merchant Marines document issued by the Coast Guard, which shows the holder to be a citizen of the United States, an original or certified copy of a birth certificate or birth registration issued by a state or the District of Columbia, the United States passport, a certificate of citizenship issued by the Immigration and Naturalization Service, a certificate of naturalization issued by a naturalization court, a letter from the Coast Guard issued under paragraph of this section. If a person does not have one of the documents listed in paragraphs through of this section, that person may appear in person before an officer in charge, marine inspection, and submit one or more of the following documents, which may be considered as evidence that the applicant is a citizen of the United States: a certificate of derivative citizenship or certificate of naturalization of either parent, and a birth certificate of the applicant, or other evidence satisfactorily establishing that the applicant was under 21 years of age at the time of the parent's naturalization. An original or certified copy of a birth certificate from a political jurisdiction outside the United States which demonstrates citizenship status. A baptismal certificate or parish record recorded within 1 year after birth. A statement of a practicing physician certifying that the physician attended the birth and has a record showing the date on which the birth occurred. A commission or evidence of commission in the armed forces of the United States, which shows the holder to be a citizen of the United States. A continuous discharge book or certificate of identification issued by the Coast Guard or the former Bureau of Marine Inspection, provided the document shows that the applicant produced satisfactory evidence of citizenship at the time of the document was issued. A delayed certificate of birth issued under a state seal, provided there is no collateral facts indicating fraud in its procurement. A report of the Census Bureau showing the earliest available record of the applicant's age or birth, affidavits of parents, relatives, or two or more responsible citizens of the United States, school records, immigration records, issuance policies, or other records which support the citizenship claim. So, you have to go and study that. And that is 33 USC 141.25, evidence of citizenship. So your evidence of citizenship, if you have a birth certificate in one of these 50 states, that's evidence of your citizenship in that state. It doesn't say the United States on top of your birth certificate. It only says the United States when it comes out of the MVDC or something that's Navy or Marine. That's the only time it says United States on top of it. So then you are a property of that United States. So you have to study 46 because 46 USC is where all the sources at. All of it. All the sources in 46 USC, my people. All the source. Okay? So, all the source is in 46 USC. So if you go into 46 USC, my people, like, you're going to be looking at Chapter 1, Coast Guard Department of Homeland Security. Chapter 2, Marine Administration Department of Transportation. And that's the one you really want to click into right now. And when you click into Chapter 2, Maritime Administration Department, you got Policy, Practice, and Procedure Regulation. If you click into Chapter 2, you can go into, you can try the policy, you got the rules and practice of procedures relating to review, secretary, transportation, actions by maritime, and hearings. So if you go into rules and practice and procedures, let me see. We going into because it's a part in here that tells you where you can send your all your paperwork. It's a part in here that tells you where in 46, chapter 2, where you can send your paperwork. It gives you the address, everything. But this is on the federal level, but this is what they have to do. This is part of their service contract. So these CFRs is part of the service contract. So, people, you have a time and place for your filings. All petition requests and replies relating to Secretary Review, Maritime Subsidiary Board. You would have to go and read that. It has the form of petitions, requests, and replies. It tells you where all papers presented to the Secretary other than record shall bear on the cover the name and the post office address of the party and the name and the address of the principal attorney, authorized representative, yada, yada, yada. You would have to read all this for yourself because it tells you how to submit your paperwork. So you got petitions and requests for review content. It will have the addresses on where you need to send your paperwork to. So you have to do your due diligence because it's the Secretary of Transportation. Then you got your ex parte. That's going to tell you a lot of stuff. So this section is part 202, procedure relating to review by Secretary of the Transportation of actions by Maritime Subsidy Board. So you can do that. You can also go to your scope of rules. It's all of this stuff is here. So it's not like they hiding anything. You just have to read it. And you got your scope of rules, you got your applications, you got your oppositions of applications, you got your replies, types of hearings, all oral evidentiary hearing. You got in here the claims against maritime administration under the Federal Tort Claims Act. So you have to do your own due diligence. You have to really sit down and you would have to read. That's the only thing that you can do with the process. You have to read this shit yourself because nobody can really tell you anything about it. You have to actually read it. That's how you know it's true after you read it. So they have the form of execution and service. So it's giving you the form of appearance and the documents, all papers to be filed under the regulations in this part. So it's telling you how to file your forms. Um, the subscription authentication of documents is telling you how it should be, your authentication should be. Documents filed shall be subscribed by the person or person's name filing same, by an officer thereof, if it be a corporation, by an officer or employee, if it be a government instrumentality, or by an attorney or the person having authority with respect to thereto. Documents submitted pursuant to stipulation, counsel where no sponsoring witness, yada. Service by parties. The date of the service, certificate of service. There you go. That certificate of service. And as the certificate of service, they give it to you. I hereby certify that I have this day served the foregoing document upon all parties of the record in this proceeding by mailing postage prepaid or by delivering in person a copy to each such party, dated this blank day of blank 19 blank signature for. So you can actually go and hand this shit to them if you want to and serve it like that. Copies of documents for use of administration, they have that. So basically, you need to go read subpart D 201.41 of Title 46 because that's telling you how to submit your documents straight up. So let's see what else we got here. Yes, this research that you're doing is very tedious, is boring, but if you're trying to get free from a system, then you have to buckle down and you have to study for yourself. If you're not going to study for yourself, then yes, you will pay other people to help you. Because if you don't want to do it, somebody else will gladly do it for a price. If you have the price to pay that person, then if you don't want to study, then yes, you can pay us, the United States Private Enterprise Free State. We sit down, we buckle down, and we can study it for you. And you can pay us to research for you and put together your paperwork. That's what we do. So get at us, 407 300 5377. But you better get at us right now at a timely manner when we want to do research. Because pretty soon, my people, we ain't going to be doing no research for nobody. Okay? Believe that shit, because we will be on a beach sipping nice drinks, smoking fat blunts, and getting in nice bathing suits, swimming in blue-green water that you can see the fish when you swim. That's the lifestyle. My people, wake up. TikTok, time is running the fuck out. Straight up. Time is running the fuck out for all you motherfuckers. For real. So they got the record contents, development, perfection, confidential, treatment, Rule 15. What is that all about, my people? The record contents, development, perfection, confidential, treatment, Rule 15. Receipt of documents after hearing. Well, you can read that your damn self. So, my people, 407-300-5377. If you want to get at the United States Private Enterprise Free State, we are doing your research for you if you need that done because your life is too busy and you still want to be free, but you need someone to research it for you, put together that